Hello and welcome to Ingram Micro's B2B Tech Talk Live. I'm Dennis Krupe, and we're so glad you could join us for the first episode of our new LinkedIn Live series. B2B Tech Talk Live is where we have real conversations with bold thinkers who together are shaping the future of technology. Today we're thrilled to host the president of Ingram Micro's Global Platform Group, Sanjib Sahoo, and tech futurist Ray Wang as they dive into the big stuff. Where AI is really heading, how SaaS is evolving, and what it all means for companies trying to stay ahead of the curve. Let's get ready for a frank and lively conversation with plenty of insights.
Hey, what's going on? How have you been, Sanjib?
Ray, I have been good. How are you?
It's been a while since our little midnight escapade in Las Vegas, but what stays in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Exactly. Like people still doubt what I was doing with you and talking about tech at midnight. So it's always cool. Always good to catch up with you, man.
Well, hey, this is a massive transformation that's happening in place. Everybody sees it. We feel it. We started out with, ML AI. It's been around since as long as we've known each other, right? I mean, it's been 14 years. We've been sitting there talking about 2 + 2 = 4. Great. And then we hit generative AI.
Can you
and it's
imagine
like 2 + 2 might equal 4.
Yeah, imagine when we met, we were talking about mobile and is cloud a thing? And look how things have evolved right now. It's like AI, Gen AI, agents, the world is moving at a very fast pace, man.
It is moving really fast, and that's what I was thinking, like, we were looking at ML, AI, it was so hard, but, the algorithms were kinda there, we didn't know if the formulas worked, we didn't have the data sets, but we knew 2 + 2 = 4, then Gen AI kicked in, and we're like, 2 + 2 might equal 4, 95% of the time, and now we have agents popping up, and it's cool. It's 2 + 2 = 4. Now what do you wanna do with it? It isn't just, like, theoretical. Things are actually getting out there. But, you're doing a lot. You guys are pulling all this stuff together. You guys launched these platforms. Like, how's AI helping your teams? Like, does it really work? Does it make customers better? Are you able to service them in a different way?
Yeah, and Ray, remember you and I have been talking for some time. When we started this platform journey with Xvantage, w- AI was not such a thing. It was a thing, but we started with data and the foundation. And with the AI, we have come a long way. We have about more than 300 AI models. Everything that we do, the journey is through AI. Think about PDF to SKUs, converting PDF to have a SKU, to have integrations from a CPQ CRM to month to minutes, personalizing the experience, solving pricing, all of that is AI. So I think I'm really, very happy about how we have the journey that we have taken to solve actual problems using AI. My observation is, and like, look, we have to go a lot, we have to do a lot more. But most of the companies work on AI and try to find a business problem, how it fits. What we start is looking at a business problem and how we can have the capabilities of AI fix it. So that's the philosophy. But I want to hear from you. You look at all the trends, you look at what's going on in the industry. What's your thought on this? Where is AI going? Where do you see is happening? Because I really see a very few companies being able to generate true value, a handful of companies through AI. So what's your thought on that, Ray?
It's a great question, right? And I go back to when we first met, you had picked up the job and you're thinking about what can we do to make it easier for customers, easier for salespeople, easier through across the board, all the partners to make sure their lives be easier. And we were talking about digital transformation, and that was the first part of the journey, right? That digitization is what allows us to be able to do AI well. And that's really what we're at the stage. And so some companies are doing it through marketing. They're able to take a campaign that might have taken them 5 months. Now it takes them 5 weeks, right? They're able to do the globalization. They're able to do the videos, the translation all happens, all the image creation. There are companies that are using it in the back office right now to do things that we really don't enjoy doing. I don't know people like get up every day and it's like, I love thinking about three-way matching in accounting, right? And that's happening in the background. And of course, thinking about dunning levels and treasury and when do we actually give cash discounts or when do we actually change promotions or what do we do with supply chain and inventory turns, right? There are companies that are actually using AI to actually improve quality and safety, especially for the frontline workers. And so these things are starting to have business value on the back end, which is really the most important piece, as you mentioned. But hey, for you, I do have a
Absolutely.
question for you. How are you using AI to
Sure.
generate revenue? Because you started out with that point. Everybody's like, yeah, we're using AI, we're using AI. And I'm like, yeah, and are you making any money on AI? Are you saving people time? Does it work? What's it work for you?
Think there's a different ways we are using AI, right? Give me a simple example, Ray. So we started building the data mesh and really understanding the data, and we have an AI ingestion factory that we created. And on top of the factory, we created all these headless engines, which are like business processes and logic. So take the friction out, from all these systems and processes in a massive organization. We have been in business for over 45 years, about a $50 billion organization. You can only imagine how much of data we have. Then we started working on building algorithms and understanding the data to really think about a data brokerage where using the data you can understand and monetize and create value. So give me a simple example. Of late, what we are looking at is take the quotes. We have a lot of customers who are doing quotes with us. You actually feed it to AI models, look at more than 50 attributes, and then look at the demand signal and the propensity, and then create proactive, sell signals where it actually fills up our, sales dashboards. And our sales team is going and calling our partners with opportunities that are actually materializing, faster, few days faster in the sales cycle. And that's how we are actually growing our revenue through AI. So it can be we call it an intelligent digital assistant, or quotes and attaching a warranty. All of that is actually generating true value in our organization. So what we are looking at is your sales cycle or your demand signals, watch it through AI and the data. So it helps the partners better, it helps our company better. So just an example of how we are looking at it. So we have gone through the digital transformation, and now we are looking at both in terms of top line and optimizing, our opportunities or cost structures. How do you use AI? So think about creating a kind of a pseudo agentic AI factory and look at business cases and figure how we can actually solve them. So it's really interesting, like, look, there's no perfect answer. AI is not perfect, but this iteration is extremely important. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, so the most important part here is the fact that there's data inside everyone's organizations that they're not putting to use, right? And getting it there. You said something to me when we first met, when you first started the journey. You were going to bring all the data together in one place. You were going to abstract all the processes so you could actually see what was going on, so you could automate and orchestrate them, and you were going to serve them up UX. And that's like the foundation of that platform that you put into place. Every organization has an
Yeah.
opportunity to go back and use the data inside their organizations in a way they couldn't do before. And I think that's the power that we're talking about here, is really accessing those insights. But the most important thing is, think about it. You're 2 days ahead of the competition, or you're a day ahead of competition, even an hour ahead of the competition on a deal. By bringing those insights up faster in terms of those sell signals, that just gives everyone a massive advantage. And we're seeing this happen across the board. Everybody's trying to figure out how to get to those insights more quickly. And it's not something that traditional software could do. Like, there's something we look at this, right? It's about making it easier for clients to consume this AI. What do you do to do that? Because everyone's like, here's AI, throw it in, pop it over here. But no one's really thinking about how to make that user experience better.
I think there are few pieces to it, Ray, in my own experience. One is internally, right? Sometimes we feel that AI is all about replacement. I feel AI is about reimagination. You reimagine a workforce or a human versus thinking about replacement, because replacement creates fear and reimagination creates opportunity. So it's our choice whether we want to look for the opportunity, or we can actually look at the obstacle, or we look at the fear. So think about even agentic AI, how we are looking at augmenting with AI agents. I have a question for you later that. And this is about augmenting us as the workforce to be much more better, so that we can focus on doing cognitive things which truly create value versus things that do not create value. And I think as an employee, everybody should ask the question, am I creating value that makes myself relevant for this job? because we talk about change management, we talk about learning. The biggest change management comes from inside. So I think mindset is one of the biggest issue with AI adoption, because AI algorithms will not be perfect. When you look at a Netflix in your day-to-day, first time you look at login Netflix, it may not give you the most perfect movie recommendations, but as you use it, as you interact with it, it actually adds better. So AI cannot work with humans, and humans need AI to make them better. So this AI and human, even agents and human, that evolving is very important, because in the future I see a more of an HA organization structure is humans and agents organizational structure, whereas more and more every organization is looking for more value creation versus repetitive stuff, and that's where I see going. But mindset is extremely important. We have to focus on the art of possible and the opportunity versus always think about replacement. So having said that, Ray, let's talk about AI agents. Everybody's talking about it. They're talking about SaaS. What is your thought on SaaS and AI agents, and from what you see in the industry, how will that change the industry overall? Not only this industry, but any industry. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I want to jump into that first point, right? We are the first, or we are the last generation to manage just humans. We'll be managing agents in the future. So we're the last generation to only manage humans. Think about that. Now, what happens with SaaS? It's a great question. Uh, we think SaaS as a delivery mechanism and model will still be there. You're going to get your applications via the cloud. But the challenge is a little bit different. Is how we access systems. SaaS, the transactional level, the transactional layer as we know it about applications, that will probably change and evolve, because how we ask questions and how we query and how we actually get the answers that we need is going to change, right? You're going to say, I want to know the forecast for EMEA in Poland versus the forecast in APAC and Indonesia. I want to compare product Y, product Z. I want to see how they're doing in terms of our availability and margins and how they're doing and what promotional discounts are working. And you're just going to say that and it pops up. Think about that. That is incredible. You're not going to be like querying one, writing a SQL statement somewhere else, calling someone else to get you a report, making sure the data shows up on the other end. It's all going to happen at the same time, and it's going to put it up to you. And that ability to actually traverse departments, traverse information and insights, that's the power of what we're seeing in agentic AI. Because what is it? It's an API with a decisioning engine, and you assign a business value and outcome you want it to achieve. And by doing that over and over, that automation capability is right at the tips of your hands. And that's where it gets so exciting. So I don't know if SaaS is necessarily dying. I think we're evolving in the way we're going to access enterprise software and applications. I don't know. What do you think?
I think the most important thing before we talk about AI, ML, or even Gen AI or agentic AI, we have to start with the data. If we
Yes.
cannot take the data out, and if you cannot have data enough to create an AI factory, which can either in a prompt mode or in a reason or act mode give an operations to work on AI, it's not going to be successful, because really less than 5% of the data is actually useful in enterprise, and most of the data loses value within 24 hours. So, and think
Oh, that
about this:
half-life is
if you
brutal.
have a yeah, and if you think a enterprise which has so many data entangled in ERPs or different systems, heterogeneous systems, how do you create homogeneous data from heterogeneous systems? Do that. So I think there is a cycle where some companies go for process standardization, system standardization, and it takes a long time. I think the fact that you can actually first untangle your data from the systems to create that operational data mesh, and also replicating to an AI data mesh is extremely important. And from there, you have to start working on either you build or buy your AI. It's kind of a rhyme, right? I'm a rhymer, like it's build or buy AI. How do you think about that? So I'm on a flow, like, and I think your face is on a glow. How do you think about that? So anyhow, so when when we actually have that that AI factory, then you think about, okay, how do we have decision making through machine learning, through supervised, unsupervised? Or how do I actually create from data to knowledge factory to my Gen AI things like customer service, And then you look at AI agents where you have various use cases, which is primarily either OpEx or top line revenue. You embed agents which can actually work on autonomous in your factory. But the key is all of that is data. The second is understanding your journeys. Every company have a customer journey, an employee journey, or a partner vendor journey, supply journey, whatever way it is. If you look at those journeys and isolate what can be automated, what can be cognitive, what is repetitive, then you can start really having your AI journey. So it starts with the journey and also with the data. You cannot do one thing or the other because you know what, Ray? Data has no emotions. Data gives on facts. You cannot really argue and make people upset with the data doesn't lie. So I think that's where my head is, that like it's a gradual journey where we should think big and act small, but it really starts with having the data structure ready, which is the foundation for AI. Too many times we work on POCs, right, without ready. You're the last example. Now, as you know, you and I talked about in Vegas that we're into fitness. I'm trying to be a little fitter and health, it's very important. Let's say tomorrow I go to the treadmill, say I am on this transformation health journey, and start running on 12 miles an hour on the treadmill. What will happen to me? You're going to say, rest in peace, Sanjeev, you're done. Because so what happens if companies do not understand their own AI maturity and try to jump on AI, it will not work. So understand your maturity of your systems and data and AI, and then do the due course. I mean, that's my thought. I hope I'm sure too many companies come to you, Ray, we want to work on AI. But don't you agree that they have to first understand their own maturity to actually go with AI?
Definitely. And your thing on data is so true. I have never been fired by a client until last year. And what happened was the client said, "We're going to go do AI." And we're like, "You have no data." Like, no, we're going to do AI. No, you don't understand. You have no data. This is not going to work. And so they fired us in February. And then we're like, "Oh, great." And so we get a phone call in June, and the guy comes back. And to his credit, he's like, "We have no data." I'm like, "Yes, you have no data." And they hired us back again. And we're just like, come on, right? It starts with the data. You got to get that right. But you're definitely right. You definitely have to put some process, some orchestration, some journey around it. And of course, there's the interaction that's there. And so we have 7 things we tell people to look at when they're trying to figure out what to automate. Highly repetitive tasks, automate those. Volume, massive volume, repeat that. Lots of nodes of interaction. I don't know. You and I might be able to multitask 5 things, 10 things, but I don't know if we can multitask 1,000 things at the same time. And of course, if you're trying to get to time to scale, right? You can't add more people. That's definitely a machine problem. But it gets interesting with complexity. Like there's some formulas that you and I can't do. It's going to be machine driven, but there's a lot of things that machines still don't have an algorithm for. And that's the human touch that's popping up. And of course, there's creativity. You and I, can make really good rules, design really good things, but we're even better at breaking the rules because we're human with the right incentives. And machines aren't necessarily there to just think outside of the box. That's kind of the human function. And of course, there's some things that you want a human touch. Sometimes you want to be able to talk to someone. Other things, you'd rather have it in self-service. It might be too dangerous for a human to get involved. And we tell people to think about every one of their business processes inside their organization and then figure out when and where do you want to insert a human. And that becomes important. So do you think of a decision tree, assume that everything's going to be automated, and then say, I need a human here because regulatory compliance. I need to add someone here to make a decision and make a judgment call because that requires, we don't have the accuracy or precision yet because we're at 65%. We need a human there to make that. We need one here for empathy. We need one here for customer experience, right? This is going to make more sense. And so by thinking about it that way, your design's going to look really different than what we had before. And that's driving a lot of this customer experience that we see today. So,
Yeah,
but that
and we
means
also
there's
have
a
to think about governance.
and
Yeah,
that
go
means
ahead.
there's a big shift in business, right? And how you operate. I mean, has that changed the way your teams work? Has that changed the way your operations are working?
Absolutely. I think there is a difference in we are in this platform journey, right? Ray? We are, becoming a platform company. Xvantage is the foundation, not as a tool to serve the business, but becoming the platform business. And the mindset is different. It's, as you said, like too many times we think AI transformation is all about technology. Yes, it's data and AI algorithms, but it's a lot about mindset. It's a lot about solving problems which we did not think could be solved before. So how we actually approach solution, how we actually look at our sales team serve our customers and partners. How do our customers give us ideas? Think about it. We are pushing recommendations to our partners. We are pushing attaching and warranty to when we sell. We are actually creating a platform for every single person. It's a different way how you are actually solving some of the business problems in our industry. Now you learn from it, right? What is that? It's an incremental iterative process. You think big, act small. You learn, you fail fast, you again think, you learn, you iterate. Maybe of the 10 algorithms, one of them is actually generating really good value. What you do? You focus more on that. You then figure out the next 10 because nothing, it's not perfect. And I think in the enterprise, too many times, we think about perfection, perfection, perfection. AI is not perfect. It's never going to be perfect. It's going to be a little better tomorrow than it is yesterday. And I think, Ray, that's, I think, the biggest mindset shift we are happening in our organization. It's a large organization being in the business for many, many years. And what we are doing is you can move the systems fast, but you cannot go far if your people, your employees, and your partners don't move along with you. So AI can create an algo in no time, but how do you use it to move your company is the biggest challenge that we have to solve. So the mindset, the skill set, and the data set all have to come together to really create success. And that's what I am seeing right now. So I know we have about 2-3 minutes. So there's some rapid fire thoughts on what else are you seeing industry, anything that we want to say to the viewers today for our first B2B tech talk live session with so many hundreds of viewers watching us live.
I'm going to give you like two quick, interesting quotes. I was keynoting an event for the entire GE Appliances team, 17,000 employees. The CEO, Kevin Nolan, says, you will all be using AI by the end of the year. And he's showing all these different examples of how the teams are going to be AI powered and enabled. Don't fear it, use it. We're talking to the CEO of Sam's Club, Chris Nichols, and he goes and says, we got rid of 10 million tasks. And the next thing I was expecting him to say is like, yeah, we cut 5% of the workforce. He didn't say that. He said, we put 3% more people on the front line because they have this really cool thing called scan and go when you walk into Sam's Club. There's no cashiers. If you don't want, you can check everything out automatically, but they wanted to make sure they improve the customer touch and the experience. And so we're in the middle of this massive revolution that's going to happen where AI is going to permeate every part of our lives. And of course, the companies that really design it with a human perspective at human scale are the ones that are going to win. And I think that's really going to be exciting, is to see how we get augmented and use AI to actually improve what's going on. And then the other thing that's also picking up that's really kind of a fun fact is that, we do have to actually think about what it means when AI bots are managing humans and humans are managing AI and different agents, because that's going to be quite interesting in terms of what it is. I mean, do you think you're going to have your own personal AI bot?
Absolutely. Ray, I think the mindset is changing. It's about we work for an organization and for the value. Someday, some people might be managed by AI agents. We have manager, AI agents. Maybe agents can manage agents, agent can manage humans. We don't know. But I think what I know is the organization are going to be more streamlined towards value. And we need to start thinking about not questioning why, but enabling to why not. Can we actually do this by AI? Why not? We should try before if we fail. The risk of not trying at all is so much more and than just trying and then failing. So we should just keep on trying. So I know we are wrapping up on time. Yeah, the
The
opportunity
scale
is
is
huge.
huge. I mean, think
And then
about
the
it. This
scale
is a
is huge
concept
and
you
the
and I talked about.
possibilities are great. Yeah,
Yeah, and the
absolutely.
concept we
The
talked
scale
about.
is huge, possibility is huge. And sorry, we are feedbacking each other. I think even the mic cannot keep up both of our energy, right, Ray? So you are like too high.
Oh,
You go
really
first,
good
and
enough.
I will wrap it up.
Let's do one of these. But yeah, we're gonna move super fast. So the exponential efficiency that we're talking about is here. Think about this. Let's talk scale, right? SpaceX is 1/10 the cost of NASA. The Indian Space Agency is 1/10 the cost of SpaceX. Think about money and payments today. We pay $25 for a Swift, ACH for $1.50 transfer. In India and Brazil, how much is UPI and Pix? Zero, right? There's going to be the first professional services company with 1,000 people to hit $1 billion. That's 10 million of revenue per employee. That's the kind of scale we're looking at. There's huge opportunities for almost everyone out there to leverage AI to build things, grow things, and you can do a lot more with less and have a huge impact. And that's the part I'm really excited about.
Yeah, thank you, Ray. I want to just conclude by saying we need to make complex things simple. So do not get worried by the Gen AI agents, SaaS, and everything. It starts with your own mindset. Can we look at things differently to actually start tomorrow to use AI and learn one thing new that can help you be better? It's all about being better a little more tomorrow than we are today. And if AI can help you, then why not? So thank you, everybody. Hope you had great fun with me and Ray, hanging out together in our first LinkedIn Live B2B Tech session. So hope you enjoyed. Thank you. Have a great day, evening, night, wherever you are. And thank you, Ray.
Hey, thanks a lot. And next time we're going to do this next to each other in person. So
next to each other, take care. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Well, that's a wrap on our first B2B Tech Talk Live. Big thanks to Ray Wang and Sanjib Sahoo for the great insights. We've got more episodes coming your way, so stay tuned, stay curious, and stay connected with us here on LinkedIn. We look forward to seeing you at the next one.